Okay, fine. So let's try to solve some numericals. So the first problem is something like this. The following particulars refer to a stage of a Parsons steam turbine comprising one ring of fixed blades and one ring of moving blades. The mean diameter of the blade ring is 700 mm. The speed is 3000 rpm. The steam velocity at the exit from the blade is 160 meters per second. The blade outlet angle is 20 degrees. Okay. Then the steam flow through the blades is 7 kg per second. That's the amount of mass flow rate, m dot. Okay. Draw the velocity diagram and find the following. The blade inlet angle, the tangential force on the moving blades, and the third one is the power developed. See, this problem can be solved by both graphical method and as well as the theoretical method, that is using the trigonometric principles. So I'll show you the procedure to draw maybe how you can go ahead in using the trigonometric principles. The same you people can try it on the using your graph sheet, taking some scale of some 1 centimeter is equal to some 20 meters per second or 25 meters per second or 50 meters per second, something like that. You can draw to the scale and you can solve the same problem. So let's try to obtain the solution for this problem. So let's try to write what is given, solution, what is the data that is given. So the data given is the diameter, which is 0.7 meters or 700 mm, d is 0.7 meters, and speed n is equal to 3000 rpm, and they are given the steam velocity at the exit from the blade, that is your v1, that is 160 meter per second. The blade outlet angle, so this being a Parsons turbine, beta 2 is also equal to 20 degrees, which is also equal to alpha 1. Okay, for a Parsons turbine, when r is equal to 0.5, your beta 2 is equal to alpha 1 and your beta 1 is equal to alpha 2. So that we are considering. Then the mass flow rate, m dot is equal to 7 kg per second. Okay, then they have given, yeah, draw the velocity triangle and try to find other things. See, for Parsons turbine, R is equal to 0.5. So we have these conditions. VR2 is equal to V1. Okay, then VR1 is equal to V2, alpha 1 is equal to beta 2, and alpha 2 is equal to beta 1. This condition is there for your R is equal to 0.5. And we are supposed to find, what are the things we are supposed to find? To find the first one, blade inlet angle, that is alpha, the blade inlet angle, yeah, that's there, it's given. Then the tangential force, that is Ft of the moving blade, and the third one is the power developed actually. Okay, now let's try to draw the combined velocity triangle. Okay, so the combined velocity triangle is, so I will have the u, this is my u, then I have my v1, this is my v1 with alpha 1, and this will be my vr1. So vr1, I'm going to close it with your the tangential component of v1 and your flow component of your v1. This will be my v of 1 and this will be my vw1, this will be my beta 1. Okay, so similarly I can write your vr2. So from this particular point I can draw your, so vr2 will be equal to v1 because this being a simple where your beta 2 or r is equal to 0.5. So this angles, now alpha 1 is equal to beta 2, and I can close it with your v2. This is my v2, and I can complete the triangle. So just this is a simple thing. Just close with the vf2 and this is your VW2, this is your alpha 2. So this is a simple triangle. So you have your, if you want to draw according to some scale on a some kind of a graph sheet, you can assume alpha to be is equal to some I can call maybe around 25, sorry, your V or something, your scale 1 centimeter is equal to, so maybe around 25 to 30 meters per second. So you can just go to that particular thing and you can draw the velocity triangle on a graph sheet. Okay, now let's try to consider the inlet velocity triangle. Okay, from the inlet velocity triangle, inlet velocity triangle. So we have sine alpha 1 is equal to Vf1 by V1, or Vf1 is equal to V1 sine alpha 1, that's equal to 160 into sine 20. Okay, so therefore your Vf1 is equal to 54.72 meters per second. This is what I am getting from my calculator. So you can cross check if there is some numbers are missing.
Correct, sir.
Yeah, 54.72. So cos alpha 1, same thing. Cos alpha 1. See, this trigonometric principles, what I am trying to do, this remains same in almost all the velocity triangle problems. At few cases only, it may change whenever the direction changes. VW1 and VW2 both are changing, then the angles may change. So otherwise, whatever the velocity triangle are drawn, this will be what you people should be able to write it properly. So cos alpha 1 is equal to VW1 by V1, or VW1 is equal to V1 cos alpha 1, that is 160 into cos 20. So I am getting around 150.35. 150.35. So all of you please verify these numbers what I am getting from your calculator. Yes, yes, you just verify that. Okay. Now, so here I am going to take this as x. Okay, I am going to take this as x. Okay, and this as y. So then x is equal to VW2, sorry, VW1 minus u, and y is equal to VW2 plus u. So that same thing. Okay. Now, what is your tan beta 1 from the same velocity triangle, in a triangle? Tan beta 1 is equal to, okay, this is your opposite side, which is Vf1 divided by your x. So what is your x actually? That is Vf1 divided by Vw1 minus u, or I can write beta 1 is equal to, okay, beta 1 is equal to tan inverse of Vf1 divided by Vw1 minus u. So u I have not found actually. So what is your u? U is equal to pi d n by 60. So here I am going to take the mean diameter, which is 0.7 meters. So pi into 0.7 into 3000 divided by 60, I am getting around 110 meters per second. So if I substitute over here, therefore beta 1 is equal to tan inverse of Vf1 is 54.72 divided by 150.35 minus 110. I am getting my beta 1 roughly around 53.59. Okay, 53.59, that is roughly around 54 degrees. Okay, maybe if you try to do it graphically, okay, so graphically you may get around 55 degrees, 55 or 54 or 56. To be very clear, around 55 degrees you will get it. Okay, next. Now, second thing is actually I need to find the tangential force. What is your tangential force actually? The tangential force is actually your mass flow rate into your velocities in the tangential direction, that is VW1 minus of VW2. Okay, the tangential force beta 1 we have found it. Okay, the second one, the tangential force. The tangential force Ft is equal to m dot into VW1 minus VW2. But here see VW1 is in this direction and VW2 is in this direction, so it is in negative direction, so this will become minus of minus. Okay, minus of minus, so this will be m dot into VW1 minus of minus VW2, so this will be m dot into VW1 plus VW2. This is my tangential force, but I have found VW1, but I don't know the value of VW2. So here alpha 1 is equal to beta 2 and VR2 is equal to V1. So for R is equal to 0.5, already we know this. So now consider the exit velocity triangle or outlet velocity triangle. Consider the outlet velocity triangle. Consider the outlet velocity triangle. Now look at this actually. Let's try to consider sine beta 2. Sine beta 2 is equal to your opposite, that is VF2 divided by your hypotenuse, that is VR2. So VF2 by VR2 is your sine beta 2. So sine beta 2 is equal to VF2 divided by VR2. But what is my VR2? Already we have seen that VR2 is equal to your V1 for R is equal to 0.5. So your V1 is equal to 160. So what is your beta 2? Beta 2 is equal to alpha 1. Okay, beta 2 is equal to alpha 1. That is your beta 2 is also equal to 20 degrees. So sine 20 is equal to VF2 by your V1. I am going to get VF2, which is also equal to VF1 is also VF2. So here this being a similar triangle, so VF1 whatever I am going to get, which VF2 it's also equal to VF1. Okay, so let's try to do that actually. So for this condition, so let me put it. So sine beta 2 is equal to VF2 by Vn, because VR2 is equal to V1 and alpha 1 is equal to beta 2 for R is equal to 0.5. Just I am writing to the side, so it will be easy for you to remember. So therefore sine 20 is equal to VF2 divided by 160. Therefore your VF2 is equal to, so 160 into sine 20, I am getting around 54.72 meter per second, which is also equal to VF1. Okay, so now in this case this is also equal to alpha 2, which is also equal to alpha 2, which is 53.59 for R is equal to 0.5. So therefore same velocity triangle, I am going to consider outlet velocity triangle. What is your tan alpha 2? Tan alpha 2 is equal to VF2 by VW1. So from that I can find VW2, sorry, VF2 by VW2. Okay, now let's try to consider tan alpha 2 is equal to VF2 divided by VW2, or VW2 is equal to VF2 by tan alpha 2. Okay, VF2 just now we calculated, which is 54.72 divided by tan 53.59. Okay, 53.59. I am getting VW2 as 40.36 meters per second. Here also I'll write alpha 2 is equal to beta 1 for R is equal to 0.5. So I got my VW1, I got my VW2. So what is your tangential force? Therefore your Ft is equal to, what is your mass flow rate? Which is 7 into Vw1 is 150.35, no? Yeah, 150.35 minus of minus, that is plus 40.36. I am getting around 1335 Newton or 1.35 kilonewtons. 1.33, so that is 1.34 kilonewtons. So what is your power developed in that case? So third one, the power developed. The power P is equal to Ft into U, that is 1335 into 110. So I am getting around 146.85 kilowatts. 146.85 kilowatts, that's it. So this is all the things we have found. Beta, that is beta 1, tangential force, and the power developed. All the quantities which they have asked, we are able to find it. And this is for your Parsons turbine. So we have done the similar kind of thing for a impulse machine. The same thing we are doing it for a Parsons turbine, that's it. So where R is equal to 0.5. Is that clear? See, the problem is same. So whatever we have done for the impulse machine, the only thing is there was R was 0 and we are using the same similar kind of velocity triangles. There we were considering beta 1 is equal to beta 2. Blade angles are same. So that's the kind of condition what you saw. For each condition we'll try to do it. Most of the impulse machines, so where D-level turbine or something, where beta angles are same, blade angles are same. But when you come to impulse machine with a Parsons kind of a turbine, it's a pure impulse reaction turbine. R is equal to 0.5. We have this condition. So VR2 is equal to V, because I'm going to get two very similar triangles. That clear? So same problem, you people try to solve using the graphic. So whatever I'm trying to do using the trigonometric method, I'm trying to use it, solve the same problem. The same problem you people try to solve using graphical method on a graph sheet and try to find the difference between it. That clear? Okay. So let's try to take one more simple other kind of a variety problem. Okay, it's something like this. The total tangential force on one ring of a Parsons turbine, okay, is 1200 newtons when the blade speed is 100 meters per second. The mass flow rate is 8 kg per second. The blade outlet angle is 20 degrees. Determine the steam velocity at outlet from the blades. If the friction losses which would occur with a pure impulse are 25% of the kinetic energy. Okay, here they are trying to give that losses. Here, this particular thing you have to be very careful here. This losses you should be able to find it. So it's 25% of the kinetic energy corresponding to the relative velocities. Then relative velocity at entry to each ring of the blades. If the expansion losses are 10%, okay, if the expansion losses are 10% actually, what is it actually? Your efficiency is 90%. 10% of the heat drop means your blade efficiency or something is 1 minus 0.1, that is 0.9, that's the meaning of it. Calculate the heat drop per stage and the stage efficiency. Okay, so what they given is they are not, see here to be very precise, stage efficiency means the gross stage efficiency, that's it. Okay, gross efficiency or stage efficiency, that's what we are trying to calculate it. Okay, let's try to solve one by one. So let's try to write what is they are given. Data solution. So what is the data they are given? So they are given tangential force is 1200 newtons. They are given the blade speed u is equal to 100 meters per second. They are given the mass flow rate, which is 8 kg per second, and they are given the blade outlet angle, that is beta 2. which is equal to 20 degrees, which is also equal to alpha 1. Okay. Then, so we will try to consider that efficiencies, all those things later. Now what it is and all. So we'll try to, what we are supposed to find. We are supposed to find the first one, the 8 drop, that is enthalpy drop. The second one is the stage efficiency or gross stage efficiency. Okay. Now, this particular problem is very similar to what we have solved the previous one, that is R is equal to 0.5. I'll take the same velocity triangle and I will try to use it. I take the same velocity triangle and paste it over here. Okay. Now, if you closely observe, what is your VWC? What is your tangential force? Let me write it. See, your tangential force, Ft is equal to m dot into VW1 plus VW2. Or if I try to take this particular thing, which is, if I try to call that as simple VW, okay, VW. So your VW is equal to tangential force by mass flow rate, which is 1200 by 8, which is 150 meters per second. Okay. Now, if you come to this velocity triangle, if I divide it exactly to 50-50, something like this, exactly at this particular point, so this will be VW by 2, this will be VW by 2. This will be exactly VW by 2, that is 75 meters per second to the left hand side and 75 meters per second to the right hand side. Okay. Then what else? Okay. Beta 1 is how much? So you can go ahead and you can solve this problem using graphical method or something. So graphical method, if I go with a graphical method, I can take some scale of 1 centimeter is equal to 10, 20, yeah, 20 meters per second, roughly around 20 meters per second if you take. Okay, you will be getting u is equal to 100 meters per second. See, this problem, so I should able to solve using a little bit of graphical method. Maybe then I can verify with your trigonometric principles, trigonometric method. So here, why this particular thing is, see, BW I am trying to get around 150 meters per second. What I need to do actually, here, try to take a scale, okay, scale of 1 centimeter is equal to, so 20 meters per second. Okay, then 20 meters per second, u is equal to how much? 100 means I am going to get 5 centimeters. Look at this. I am going to get, this is equal to, say, 5 centimeters. 5 centimeters. Then you mark the center for this. Okay, you mark the center for this. Then from here, you take 75 meters per second to the right hand side, 75 meters per second to the left hand side. How much it will be? See, this is of 75 meters per second means, so 75 meters, 75 divided by 20. So if I do, so 3.75. So from here, you mark a line. See, this is 2.5, another 1.25. Okay, so another 1.25 to the right hand side if I take it. So I'll be getting this point. I'll be getting this point. So I'll be getting a point at 1.25 centimeters. Okay, similarly, I can go here and I can draw the another 1.25 centimeters to the left hand side, and this thing is your VW. This is your VW, which is equal to 150 meters per second. This is 150 meters per second. Now, so they have given alpha 1 is equal to 20 degrees. Okay. Now, what should I do? From this point, I should drop a vertical line like this. I should drop a vertical line. This is actually your VF1. Then from this point, if I call this as A, B, C, D. From C, I'll take this perpendicular line and draw a vertical line, thin line I'm going to draw. Then from point B with 20 degrees, point B with 20 degrees, I will draw a line. Okay, wherever it's going to intersect, okay, this will be my V1, this with alpha 1, okay. Then I'm going to join from this point to this point. This will be my VR1. Are you getting? So this being a little bit methodology, which you have to go with a graphical method only. So graphical method, you'll be able to get it. You can call this as point D. So now I got the inlet velocity triangle with all the components. I got the inlet velocity triangle with all the components. Now I can measure this angle, which is beta 1. So once I get beta 1, which is also equal to, see, beta 1 is also equal to what I'm trying to get it, alpha 2. So then alpha 1 is equal to beta 2. So now what I'm going to do actually, I'm going to draw one more line from here. So from this particular D, I'll draw a vertical line. Okay, then with your alpha 2 is equal to, so beta 2 is equal to alpha 1, that is 20 degrees. I'll draw a vertical, I'll draw a line. So wherever it's going to touch, okay, this is my beta 2, this is my VR2, and whatever the point I'm going to get, sorry, I want to get a point, this point, what I'm going to get, this will be my D. Then I will be able to join this point. I'll be able to join this thing. That is from B, I'll join this thing. I'm going to get, this will be my V2, and this will be my alpha 2. So this particular problem, I need little bit of graphical method only. I need to use graphical method then to solve this problem. Otherwise, solving using trigonometric principles, you can solve it, but it becomes very, very tedious. You have to do a lot of calculations to come up with this particular thing. Rather than that, actually, you can just go on, because I know, see, VW will see, VW1 plus, we see here, VW1 and VW2 are different. If you look at the values, their values are different. But if I'm able to calculate the center point, we call it as some 0 or something, from the center point, VW is exactly at equal distance. So to the left hand side, it is 75 meters per second. To the right hand side, it is 75. So I'm going to get 150 meters. That is not changing. So if you try to calculate this one, so this will be your VW1 and this will be your VW2. This will be your VF2. So all the things what we draw using the maybe what we have drawn at the top, I can get the same things using your graphical method. So roughly, if you try to look at it, if your alpha 1 is maybe something we got around 20 degrees, your alpha 1 is equal to beta 2. This is also 20 degrees. Maybe your beta 1 may be slightly higher. Maybe I may get 59 or 55 or 60 degrees. Let's go with an assumption that roughly, so I'm going to get some beta 2. You can verify this. Beta 1 is equal to, okay, beta 1 is equal to altered. That's from the graph. Let me take it as from the graph what I may get approximately in and around 55 to 60 degrees. I'm assuming around 60 degrees. So V1, so comparatively with respect to your VF1, VW1, it should be comparatively less than your VW. Total delta VW it should be. So let me assume around 120 or 130 degrees. So let me, you have to verify this. This thing you have to verify this from your graph. Let me take it as some 130 meters per second. Yeah.
From my construction, I got around 63 degrees, sir.
63. Okay, fine. I told no approximate.
Hmm.
I'm telling around. You're fine. Okay, you go ahead. See, I have not used any graphical and all. I'm taking some 55 or 60 degrees. And okay, fine. Whatever the value you are getting, you may get 63 degrees. Maybe someone else may get 62 degrees. 1 or 2 degrees. That's it. Around 60 degrees. That's why I didn't write it's exactly equal to 60. Around 160 degrees. Then how much you are getting VW1? Around 130. Just check that. And similarly, you can check for V2, which is also equal to VR1, maybe around 50-60 meters per second.
54.
Fine. So roughly, so let me write around 55 meters per second. This is around 130 meters per second. So this is what you will get it from the graphical method.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, for a Parsons turbine, the change in isentropic enthalpy drop is given by, okay, VR2 square minus VR1 square divided by 2 times your blade efficiency or vane efficiency or whatever it may be, nozzle efficiency, whatever you want, just you write. Now we will go back. So what is this efficiency they given? This is your blade efficiency, which is 1 minus 0.10% of the heat drop, which is 0.9. Are you getting? So now this 10% heat drop is actually in the blades. That is, your blade efficiency is 90%. Okay. Now we'll come back to this. If the friction losses which would occur with pure impulse are 25% of the kinetic energy corresponding to the relative velocity at entry to each ring of the blades, that means your VR1 square, that means what it is actually, the meaning of that is actually VR1 square is actually, it is 1 minus 0.25, 1 minus 0.25 V2 square. Okay, so what kinetic energy corresponding to relative to each ring of the blades? If the pure impulse are considered, this is actually, this would have been your VRC. That means what I'm going to do, this particular quantity, this one, I have to write it as 0.75 V2 square. 0.75 V2 square. That's the meaning of it. It is 20% kinetic energy related to that particular is with respect to that. That's the meaning of it. So what I'm going to do actually, I will try to replace that VR1 square by your 0.75 V2 square and try to get your isentropic enthalpy drop. So 0.9 is your blade efficiency. So if I try to write it, so VR2 square, okay, what is your VR2 square? Your VR2 square is equal to, sorry, this is V1, not VW1, V1. This is V1. So VR2 is equal to V1 is roughly around 130 meters per second. So you may be getting around 130 or 133 or 134. Around that only you will be getting. So if I take it as 130 square minus 0.75 into 55 square divided by 2 into 0.9, this is your isentropic enthalpy drop. .75 into square 55 square divided by, okay, I am getting around 8,128 joules per kg. So I'm getting around 8.129 kilojoules per kg, or 8,129, around that actually. If you do it actually around 8,120 or 130 or 150, something like that, you make it. Okay, so this is your what I'm getting. Now closely look at it actually. What I am getting actually, this is isentropic enthalpy drop for a blade or a rotor. Okay, this is for a rotor, because I am trying to consider the blade. This is for a rotor. Hope you remember when I was doing the derivation, I told for 0.5, for R is equal to 0.5, delta H isentropic for rotor and delta H isentropic for stator, both are same. Okay, I'll write that. For R is equal to 0.5, your isentropic enthalpy drop of the rotor is equal to isentropic enthalpy drop of the stator or the nozzle. So this condition is there. If I do that, then what will be delta H isentropic for the stage is equal to delta isentropic stator plus delta H isentropic rotor. What would it be? 2 times of it actually. So either add 8.129 kilojoules plus 8.129 2 times, or 2 times of it. Okay, if you just add that actually, it will be 16.258. 16.258 kilojoules per kg. This is your isentropic enthalpy drop of the stage. Then what is your stage efficiency? Stage efficiency or gross stage efficiency. Second one, this is your stage efficiency. So this also few books, they call this as the gross stage efficiency. What it is actually, your stage efficiency is equal to work done divided by isentropic enthalpy drop of the stage. What it is actually, VW1 minus of VW2, that is VW1 plus VW2 into U divided by delta isentropic of the stage. So if I substitute, what is your work done? VW plus VW1 is 150 meters per second. 150 into what is your U, which is 100 divided by this actually 16.258 kilojoules, that is 10 to the power of 3. So this will be your efficiency. 150 100 divided by 16.258.
92.
Yeah, so 92.26%. 26%. So I'm getting around stage efficiency of 92.26%. So this is your gross stage efficiency or stage efficiency. Is that clear? We'll try to stop here.